Yes, we are live. Yes, how we doing, guys? Hello. Thank you for joining the stream. If you're watching it retrospectively, you are just as important. So thank you to you. This is going to be a topic that I've probably covered a while ago, and every now and then we do steer towards it with one topic or another. But it's just as important as anything else because it's always revolving around the central theme. It's our children. And just before I start anything, I'd like to recite, paraphrase a song from George Benson. I believe that children are our future. Teach them well and let them lead the way. Red Pill Phil on YouTube. So innocent. I'm going to be speaking to Kimberly, a lovely lady from Wales, who is a concerned parent, who is a head of an organisation, a founder of an organisation, or at least a part of an organisation that's trying to stop global, you could argue, sexualisation of children. But primarily, she's working from what she can see that's coming to her country, beloved country of Wales. So I'm going to bring her in 1 second. Red Pill Phil on YouTube. Thanks again for all your support. Yes. Hello, Kimberly. How are you doing?
Are you okay?
Yes, fine, thank you. Just like to say a big hello to all the people jumping in as well. And Amanda. There's Amanda. That's the lady that's made all this happen.
Yeah. Thank you.
Brilliant. Brilliant. Well, obviously, the talking point is very relevant to everyone. We were all kids once. So even if you've not got children, you've got to look at the point of when you were growing up and what you know, the good ideals, what was right, what's not right, maybe incidents that's happened in the past. But primarily now, for anyone who's having children, they should be really listening to this. Now, I'm going to literally let you introduce yourself now, Kimberly, everything you're doing and primarily what it is you're on this stream for. Hello, and thank you for your time, by the way.
Thank you. I'm Kim, as Phil said. I'm from Wales, South Wales. I'm part of a campaign, Education, I would say, our way. But it is we've had to create an organisation, Public Child Protection Wales, because this issue just got so massive. So the campaign is a sideline from that now. We're campaigning to remove RSE from the curriculum bill, which is in England is SRE. It's mandated from age 3, and this education is part of a global rollout which sexualizes children. Like I said, it's global rollout all around the world. Even in England now, they're fighting policies there, and it wasn't long ago you celebrated a policy change. We are not fighting any policies. We're not wasting our time on policies. We're going straight in. We want that off the bill, first as last. The last time education policy was legislation was changed was 20 years ago, Phil. And we were just 2 years ago, we were operating underneath a document that wants sexual stimulation and consent from birth and sexual intercourse by 9. So this is not a risk we are willing to take. We not get into the debate about policy. That is an exhausting argument which gets nowhere. We want that gone off our curriculum bill, first as last.
It's so sinister when you see what is actually bleeding through this, as it were. It totally contradicts, and it for me, it's like double speak, Kimberly, in a sense that we have a society that's telling us that we protect our children. The word safeguarding is like this buzzword that all these authorities like to
That's
use.
it, Phil. I'm a safeguarder myself, plus I'm a mother of additional needs. So I've been in education policy for 15 years because of my son, but I'm a criminologist. So models of offending, barriers of disclosure, perpetrators of abuse, child sex abuse, harmful sexual behaviour, crimes against children, children who offend. So that is my life and my son's life rolled into one. But when I read these frameworks, so as you know now, I've even got a degree in social policy as well, okay? So I'm not reading these documents wrong before anybody starts that. I'm reading a model of offending in an education document. That should not be happening. That should not be happening. I can't get past the first page. I'm seeing barriers to disclosure. I'm seeing children trapped in a world of abuse from interfamiliar abuse. And then I'm seeing then from an institutional abuse point of view that, you know, they got open access. So that is very much, it's dangerous, Phil. It's dangerous before we even go to sexualization. So like you said, safeguarding is a word that's thrown around a lot, and it is. To pick up on that point as well, what we're hearing a lot from parents is about this education. Correct terminology is important. Well, yes, sometimes it is to safeguard, but I don't think they realize what that terminology is, Phil, because they're asking small children to name the vulva and explain the sensation. There's a bit of difference there, isn't there? So because parents have been told terminology safeguards, they think that's okay now. They don't have to look at it. Because teachers have been told is safeguards and it protects from teenage pregnancy and it protects from STIs. The evidence doesn't back that, but they think it does.
You know, I try to flip scenarios as much as possible, and with your argument, which is a very valid argument, that everyone can see that is permeating on the street with the average kid, the way they dress now, the sexualization is just a normality now. I look at it and I think, what these policies that you're talking about that's going through the educational system now, if it was flipped, as in the parent was sat at home implementing their version of these policies, would that be child sexual abuse that is then done by the parent?
Well, that's a really good question, because I would have said 100% yes. But if you look at the ASDA home education, sex education pack, it's the same. It's the same. So, and it was a parent that blew the lid on that, and the people who write that are writing some of the parts of the curriculum as well in England. So you can go to the Safe Schools Alliance to look at that. They wrote a letter about it. But yes, I would have said it's a crime if I come into your house and did that to a child in your house. I'd go to jail, and I would expect the same to happen to you in my house, Phil. But on the note of that home education pack, you know, it's
the lines are too blurred, and
way too blurred. There are no lines anymore, Phil. And this is what annoys me. Our services aren't good anyway, but we're only just starting to recognise that that we have no child prostitutes anymore. There is sexual exploitation. It wasn't long ago we were calling children who would abuse young prostitutes. You know, we're only just getting over that. And now we're just going to pull the rug from under these kids even more.
Well, what seems to be apparent here, Kimberly, is that they're trying to introduce into the psyche of the individual now that kids are sexually active from the moment they're born.
Yes, and they say that it's their words, Phil. It's not our interpretation. It's their words and their documentation. You know, so that's not us. That's what they say.
Then you've got no child prostitution, because then you're talking about really consensual sex.
And children have got sexual rights. Now, I'm children's rights mad. Like I said, I'm additional needs mother, children's rights. I'm fighting for them all the time. And then it was only in February that I discovered the children's sexual rights. And now I'm like, hang on a minute now, is this really where it's going? So a child is encouraged to exercise their rights over the parents' rights. When this bill comes in place in Wales, children's rights will override the parents' rights anyway. That's the hierarchy of rights here. So I've asked the question, where do the sexual rights sit on that then? Nobody can answer me. So we got bodily rights, sexual rights, and children's rights. Children can make their own decision. They're allowed to say what they like, what feels nice, what feels good, listen to their own body. And then we got to differentiate between a good and bad secret. But these kids are only told about violence. It's not, it's dangerous, fellas. It's too dangerous.
Kids are confused. We were all discovering ourselves at that age. If you are getting the wrong information inputted or a twisted, exaggerated form of that information.
What they're doing is they're trying to portray it as biology. This is not biology.
No.
This is nowhere near biology, and this is nowhere near safeguarding. It is sexualizing children.
Right. Well, what we're talking about initially, we're talking about policies that have already been implemented in England. And the gripe, obviously, why you're screaming, obviously, it's wrong fundamentally from an individual's point of view. But it's coming into Wales. And is it June or July?
It should get royal assent in April.
April, sorry. Okay. So what is it people can do in order to help or support? I'm not trying to cut this off. I'm just trying to get to that bit because there's so much more we're going to talk about.
Well, first and foremost thing, Phil, we've got to tell people this is what I'm like. In Wales, we're a small country. We can get from north to south in one day. And like I mentioned to you earlier on, we got certain towns contacting me, but this education's already been in their town. Nobody knows. So the most important thing right now is to tell everyone and show them the proof. Because we got proof that the UK government signed up in 2017. Here in Wales, our documents clearly state refer to UNESCO. We've got an email off a school. Their link takes us through to England. You know, so we've got the evidence is overwhelming. But everybody needs to know first and foremost, because there's no good writing to a politician. They are not going to listen to you. They're going with their party. These are not over-the-table talks. They are not over-the-table talks.
They've got children themselves. This is what I don't get.
And everybody needs to rise together. What we are doing here is we've got an election in May, and hopefully none of those will be there after that. You know, these people need to go. They need to be held accountable, fellow. I'm going to hold the Children's Commissioner accountable as well, because she's clearly not educated enough for her job. She's clearly negligent because she failed to investigate it. I would contact people and ask them to investigate. I can give you all the information. If they fail to investigate, they're negligent. You need to get them gone. It needs to change now. Things need to change now.
You know what comes across is that you're very passionate and you're very astute. Unfortunately, we're surrounded in a society where people have just allowed authorities just to do it on the premise that they're doing a good job. Just leave them to it. So there's not many of people like you to the per 100,000 to the city, to the population. So I guess all you're doing now is literally saying, guys, we've all left them to it, believing that they're educating our children in a right, safe manner under the premise of safeguarding. But believe me, where they're going with these policies, it's nothing to do with safeguarding. In fact, it is actually abuse within itself in its own definition. Would you say?
100%, Phil, and this is it. Our fight is very much evidence-based. There is no evidence to support any of this, and we've got evidence going back decades. Definitions call this abuse. The law calls it abuse. We're teaching children how to consent, yet consent is rape, Phil. We've got teachers telling us that consent is okay. If teachers think consent is okay, they don't understand the basic concept of rape, then we need to go back to the drawing board. Simple as that. You know, you can't put a plaster on this issue now. It's gone on too long. It's going to be a case of we've got to pull the rug. You know, we've got to pull the rug, or they're going to pull the rug on the kids. It's as simple as that.
I totally understand you. The problem that we've got, it's not just the educational system, is it, Kimberly? You watch the TV.
This is why we set up Public Protection Wales, because aside from this, I'll just close my door sec.
Wow, you can see, guys. I wouldn't say off topic because we do cover abuse on this channel. But
I'm sorry about that. Yeah, aside from this, like I said, I've got an additional needs child, so I do a lot of work with additional needs anyway. Social service, family courts. Some of the girls work with special needs. So we all support families through these issues, through all the corruption in these systems. We've got a talk on Friday, and we've got Byron John speaking there. His son took his life in school because of the failures in the system and the cover-ups and everything else. So this is why Public Child Protection Wales was born, because the issue now is too big. The workload is too much. We can't just go helping people anymore, Phil. They are not isolated incidents. And the way we are going to view it now, if our government think they got the big likes to be running the government down there with the devolved government, well, come on then, show us. Because we've had these policies from them now for 20 years, and all they've done is everything's just falling apart around us. If we don't fight to get everything back now, there's no coming back from this. So this is the way I see it. There's no coming back from this education. You know, we've got, if we refuse our children to go into these lessons, we're going to breach our children's sexual rights. When we breach our children's sexual rights, local authority becomes involved, which are the social services.
No, I totally agree. There was another YouTuber that, which I'm hopefully going to be on with on Friday, Brit Girl, lovely lady, Rachel. And when I told her I was having this interview, she was like chomping at the bit. Unfortunately, she couldn't make it on because it was a birthday yesterday, so she's got celebrating and stuff, and she's not available. But ultimately, she was saying to me that her child, she no longer, she's took her out of the state school system. And this was one of the main topics. She's now homeschooling her own child because of it, because she can see overtly what is happening. And it's just not right. And it's all too many times, it's under the guise of diversity. It's under the guise of so many different things. And in reality, there's a sordid twistedness about it that it's uncomfortable to the average parent.
What they're doing is they're exploiting more than children, aren't they? Do you know what I mean? Like they're exploiting the LGBT platform by saying that it's about same-sex relationships. They're exploiting the family dynamics by removing the parental rights. So there's a lot of casualties here. We've got a massive LGBT following. They share everything about us. But somebody did attack me all day saying you're taking gay rights back 50 years. And I was like, we're trying to protect you. Because when this comes through under your umbrella,
you're going to look bad.
Makers aren't going to get it, Phil. You know, our friends are going to get it.
Exactly.
The people we see daily in the street. You know, this is a serious matter. And there's good and bad in every walk of life when it comes to children. And if everybody focuses on the children now and stops getting carried away in their labels and their egos.
Yeah,
this is a safeguarding issue. This is a child protection issue, first and foremost, and everybody needs to wake up to that.
It's a question of the ramifications and the negative ramifications of these implementations. Bearing in mind, one of your colleagues was talking about the rate within schools that's gone up. Do people who then argue, maybe gays, homosexual, whatever, if they come to you and say, well, you shouldn't be doing this, do they want this in their name? So for every child that somehow ends up in a negative scenario because of this system that's being rolled out, do they want that in their name in order to promote their sexuality? Is that what this is about?
Well, this is what I've said. You've even fallen out with teachers over it. They say, and you're saying so many of my colleagues are pedophiles. No, I'm not. What I'm saying is, these are the statistics. I'm a single parent of boys, 2 boys. The statistics for myself are high. The statistics for my children being targeted are high. I've got an autistic child. The statistics for him attacking or being attacked are high. I suck it up, Phil. I suck it up and I educate us. It's as simple as that. It's as simple as that, It
is. It is. It's common sense.
Yeah.
This is same again. This is why I started with the George Benson lyric, because it's so profound. And ultimately, we're being told in a society that is paramount. But we can see that not only through the system, but the people in some ways that are pushing this agenda as well, they ultimately can't feel the same way.
Well, I think if it wasn't for my experience fighting for my son's rights and fighting for inclusion and celebrating difference, this is the way I raise my children. Inclusion, we celebrate difference. I don't believe in equality, Phil, because if we all had the same size box, you're always going to be taller than me. That doesn't work, right? Inclusion is what I think, So when you're in this world and you fight for these rights daily anyway, and you're like, hang on a minute now, this doesn't go anywhere anyway. This doesn't go anywhere anyway. When you're in this world, I don't think I would know. I don't think I would know the dangers if I weren't this close to that world, if I weren't dealing with education policy, if I weren't constantly fighting for support and fighting for children, normal children's rights. If I weren't sat in an ed teacher's office month after month after month with families, maybe I wouldn't be supportive of this. I'd hear, yes, this is a good thing. Do you know what I mean? But being in the thick of it, seeing things from both sides, is a lot easier then for me to see, you know. So you have got to look at it like that as well. If you're not in the thick of it, you're not trying to exercise these rights, you've got really no understanding, and you just think, well, yeah, they deserve their rights, you know, when you don't understand the mechanism of it all.
See, the one thing that we've got to get through to people here with this argument is that this is not just well, society changes, so we've all got to roll with it. You know, this is the new world. We can't really look at this like that. This is almost a fundamental change in the ethos of what we know as society.
This is the death of innocence. This is the death of innocence. People don't realize how serious this is. Somebody said to me, if I'd had this education, I would have known I'd been abused. Abuse wouldn't have existed then. You know, abuse, it wouldn't have been abuse then.
Yeah.
You know?
Imagine.
We're telling children, we've just got over the thing. We recognise that even children over the age of 16 who have consented, they can still be exploited. So that definition covers over the age of consent and who consent, because they recognise they can be exploited. Yet, we want 4-year-olds consenting.
It's not even a debate or a question.
No, it's not a debate. And that's what I keep saying to people. This is not a debate.
You know, thinking about this interview, I had all kinds of scenarios in my head, and because I've got 2 children, they're grown up now, but when they were growing up, kids' TV's on all the time, TV adverts, you're getting bombarded with game after game, and you have that mental image in your head of the kid playing with the game on the advert, and the voiceover is making it as exciting as possible. 9 times out of 10, these games are all innocent and very playful. And I fast forward then to this implementation that wants to tell kids about promiscuity, about penetration in different orifices, and about exploring themselves. And the same again, this goes back to what I say, this is almost like a world of doublespeak.
Yeah.
Project one thing, but in reality, what is actually going on and the ramifications it's having to have every child. If you're in the school system,
have you seen the SNP resources they're using, the videos they're using in Scotland?
Yeah.
Oh, they are colourful, bright, animations, music in the background. Only 40% of women have tried anal, and then there's banana going in the Nutella,
right.
And then it's, you know, they're so appealing, tying up a chicken, and it resembles a John Lewis. It's so appealing for children.
It's tried to make the argument young, fresh, trendy, so people look at it and don't realise the seriousness of it. Now, I have actually seen that clip, but that was thanks to yourself. That was because you'd sent me a clip. But before I play a little bit of what this chap has done, this chap has got his own YouTube. It's not got many subs on it. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to put in the chat for his actual YouTube page. So please sub and look at the video. But is it the guy called Broken Chain? Is that right, Kimberly?
Yeah.
Right. Could you just explain who the guy was and how you come to meet him, and then ultimately what he ended up doing, and then I'll go to the clip.
So I got contacted by a man, Stephen Jenkins. He lives in Devon, but he's a Welshman. He saw a post of mine on Facebook and he investigated it. So he didn't believe what I said. He investigated it. And when he found what he found, he was mortified. And he said he's a Christian man, and he said he couldn't live his life knowing he hadn't done nothing, and he would like to make a film. And he and his wife, they researched hard. They tried to get hold of Judith Reisman as well, who was a lady who's been challenging this for years. She's in her 80s now, so it was a bit difficult to get hold of her. But they were ill as well, researching this. His wife had a really hard time. That's how bad it is. But he's made the film, and he's given us the rights to it, and he's done a fantastic job. He's told the story in a way that we couldn't, you know.
Well, I'd love to say the guy's done an impeccable job. in terms of the work, the diligence, and the depth in terms of the way he's laid it out. It's brilliant. What I will say, I've just put in, I've copy and pasted in the comment section a link to the channel, Broken Chain. Seriously, sub to that channel and take a look at that video. And if anything, take the video down, and I'm sure the chap and Kimberly won't mind you sharing it and doing what you want to do
of course. That's what he made it for, you know. He's hoping that video is going to unite the faiths. He's hoping it's going to unite everyone. What he said to me was, I want it so a 10-year-old can understand it.
Yeah.
And I think he's put it across.
He broke it down beautifully.
So
well, I'd love to say, if it's okay if I re-upload that in its entirety. Brilliant. Because he really does. You have to sit and listen. This isn't glorified. It isn't interesting to make you, engage in it. You've got to listen and hear how he's breaking it down. Now, I've cut down a couple of the little parts. It's like is it half an hour, something like that? The entirety of the video. I've got 3 30-second clips of it. So if you want to say anything after each of these clips, by all means, Kimberly, but just to give people a little bit of a flavour of what to expect. Brilliant job.
The Netflix film Cuties is an all too common example of a movement within society right now that appears determined to sexualise young children, and it's a growing and worrying trend. You would think that the one place that children, especially very young children, would be safe from exposure to inappropriate material would be in school. As of September 2020, England introduced new regulations and new teaching requirements for all schools to include what is called relationships education.
Right, so that's the first clip. I mean, the guy, he literally goes really in depth, and he come to the same conclusion that I did, but he's more eloquent and he's done deeper research to come to that conclusion. Although I texted you into that, I covered this, and I kind of got the angle that this is a global agenda. For me, it's under the flag of the 2030, Agenda 2030. But the way he breaks it down with the different organizations that collaborate to make this happen is eye-watering.
Yeah.
I'm sorry if I just thought you may want to say.
We couldn't have done that. Like Adele really wanted to go into that and throw in people's faces, but we're having trouble getting people to see that we got an education coming from somewhere other than Wales, So we've had to keep our documents that directly connect to each document. We've only gone back as far as 2010, which I believe should be more than enough to wake people up, But so he's hit that in a great way, because we couldn't have, people would have taken us off on a tangent on that, so, and I don't think they would have listened, because he's broken it down in such a way. You can't do that in text, and you can't do that in debate on social media, He's done that fantastically well with all the organizations. And if you Google sexuality education, those organizations are the ones that come up on a Google search.
So they're all there, hiding in plain sight, as it were.
Yeah.
I mean, what's fascinating about this, he really got me. Let me play the video. Which one is it? Right, let me keep going, because I want to get to the point. There was a bit about a chap, Dr. Alfred Kinsley. That, when he got there, I'd done a little bit of dabbling myself, and I couldn't believe it. Now, I'm not sure whether it's in this clip or the next clip, but let's keep moving on.
The new legislation requires all children from 4 to 16 years old to be taught about sex and relationships, removing parental opt-outs. But what exactly are these programs, and what is being taught? Well, some teachers, parents, and experts are still divided about how sex and relationships should be taught to children. Some believe there should be no sex education before the age of 12, and that teaching young children, particularly about sexuality, may confuse them at that age.
Well, I mean, that's the average point. Same again, it goes back to what I was saying before. If I was an individual who had a child and I was constantly inputting this agenda to them, sat eating the tea on a day-to-day basis, I surely should be an abuser, if not of the mind, but at least of the body anyway, because ultimately I'm trying to exploit. You could argue that's grooming.
Well, again, from my point of view, Phil, I'm an additional needs mother. So the first thing that strikes me by these documents is children aren't encouraged to feel comfortable in their own skin. You know, there is nothing to kids aren't encouraged to feel comfortable in their own skin. There's nothing there. There's just questions about themselves all the time, continuous questions. They just.
It's true. And it's never been so bad, has it? I mean, you look at the aesthetic way of looking at it as well. From a young kid of today now, there's never been so much pressure, be a girl or a boy,
Yeah.
to look a certain way, to put makeup on, to have accessories now. I was snagging the other day, going slightly off topic, but it's not because it's all the same. There was this pretty young 20-something lady that had just purchased a house. I was snagging a property. She had no reason from my viewing to aesthetically change her appearance. Yet her lips were swollen out.
Yeah.
Now I think to myself, one, you're actually aesthetically, there's no need. I can get, correctional stuff. I get all that, but there was no need here. Two, you are only young.
Yeah.
Your body is still forming. You could actually argue your body's not finished yet. And even when people get to a twilight years and they decide that they want to iron everything out, even that, for me, grow old gracefully, with all your lumps and bumps. But 21. So at 21, we're now inputting, and that's at 21. I mean, there'll be 18-year-olds.
Yeah, but the brain doesn't fully mature until you're 25. And this is, and this is why we've got a separate justice system for that age category. Do you know what I mean? Because of these issues. Yeah. So on one end of the scale, we're saying, hang on, the brain can't take this. They need support. They need extra. They need diversion in this area. But on the other end of the scale, and we're like, come on, speed them up. They're not even kids. They're one of us.
Yeah.
We're in the voting age and everything else.
You're right. And it's a double speed.
We're responsible as well, Phil. How many parents buy their kids an iPhone for Christmas? And then, oh God, when they've got a message in young Portia's Insta, there's riots. And that post is shared 500 times.
Yeah.
So we all got a responsibility here. We're all too busy trying to keep up with the Joneses. And again, like you said about the lips, well, it bugs me on Facebook when I see beautiful girls with filters and filtering their children. Guys, we need to be ourselves. We all need to be ourselves because otherwise our kids aren't going to be.
Yeah, you're training them in a way and it can be deemed innocent, but then you look at projection, 10 years of that.
Yeah.
It's going to be like, how superficial can a child go when they live that type of lifestyle that is materialistic? It's all about how you look. There's a certain element then when you could actually downlook someone who's not interested in aesthetics.
Yeah, so exactly.
And it's not right.
No, it's not right at all. And the thing is, we need to be giving kids confidence in themselves. So, like I said, my son's autistic and he's always felt like the oddball and weird. And I thought to him, look, people spend their whole lives trying to stand out. You was born that way, so
that's a good way, good spinner, definitely.
This is who we are. And
yeah.
Like, if people want to get stuff that each they don't, I'm not shy of the odd Botox. I got a friend who's got a clinic, Phil, right. But I'm in my 30s. And also as well, I was a homeless teen. So by the time I was in my 20s anyway, I'd had a good grasp on life. I'd been homeless on and off from 14 to 21. So I'm not somebody who was born with a silver spoon in my mouth. I'm not somebody that's sitting up on my high horse saying, children shouldn't do this, children shouldn't do that. Their brains don't fully mature till 25. I'm telling you, as a person who come from the streets and had to grow up fast. And if I can tell you that I wasn't fully mature until I was 25, 30, then sure to hell somebody should be listening. Because I should be the one saying, hang on a minute, now I was doing this at that age, I was doing that at that age. I wasn't mature for it.
Kimberly, anyone of an age now will realise that they'll resonate with you totally. Not only with life experience, but same again, they may have children now. They'll be able to see it from that level. And even more so, grandchildren. So then the forward projection of what's so there's a lot of resonance here with what you're talking about, and it's not even a question of being judgmental. It's just a question of seeing socially where things are going. You know, it's a
Slow
personal
down
choice.
and enjoy life. Slow down and enjoy life. These kids just want to get older quicker. And we are allowing that by posting things on social media, you know. We all need to take a look at ourselves. Mental health has increased rapidly for children and teenagers. Here we've got a 2-year waiting list in CAMS, you know, and now our government was fetching this education, and part of support of that education is support from CAMS. So why is it going to be a 4-year list then? You know, nothing is adding up, Phil. They just, everything they're bringing in, it does not make sense. There's no evidence to support any of it. If there was evidence to support it, I'd be running to the Queen myself. I would. I always support sexual safeguarding. I support children's rights. If this was good, I would be taking it to the Queen to sign myself, you know? So for me to be saying no, this is a big, massive no. It is a no, you know?
No, it's not about being old-fashioned here. It's not about that. It's literally common sense and the right thing to do by children. But ultimately, the way you phrased that a second ago, Kimberly, I actually thought you should talk about COVID here, or should talk, because what I'm saying is the redress and what you said about things not adding up, it's exactly where we're at with everything else that seems to be happening right at the moment. So it's almost like, what is going on? Have we got the pissheads actually running the brewery at this point? Because there doesn't seem to be any organisation, and the decisions that are being made are woefully going against the proletariat at this point, where even the proletariat that give them the power are now even waking up and going, what? Really? And that's the worst thing they could have done. Right, can I just introduce... Oh, hey up. Katie just... But where have you gone, Katie? She's just waved and popped out again. There's another lady, I've got to say, just for 30 seconds, you'll see an emblem above there, childrenmatter.news. Lovely girl called Katie Jane Swallow. It's all about forced adoption and whatnot. Basically, the technological uplift that she's given me in the channel. And I will say this stream is multi-streaming. So I'm streaming on my channel, and I'm also streaming on Katie Jane's childrenmatter.news. But for some reason, she just bobbed in like a peekaboo moment and then gone again. I don't know what that means. Katie, do you want to come in and say something? It sounds like you've got something to say, but you were being uber polite there.
Yeah.
Can I just go to this last video of a chap that we've got, and this will bring on to another talking point that got me watching something today.
Why has all this sudden change in the delivery of sex education come about? The World Health Organization and UNESCO are rolling these programs out worldwide in partnership with organizations such as Planned Parenthood and the Sexuality Information and Education Council of the United States, or SECUS, and also the Kinsey Institute. The big question is, who are they, and what are these organizations recommending to the World Health Organization and UNESCO?
So that gives you an indication, doesn't it, of how broad this is. How broad.
Yeah. And this is it, you know, this is it, Phil. Everything that we are saying is not coming from our mouths. It's not our interpretation. We're repeating their words, even down to like the World Health Organization document was the one that the UK government signed up to. Well, now we have the updated document, which is UNESCO. Now, people are saying the different documents. But if you turn to Statement 1.3 in UNESCO, it tells you it's an updated version of the WHO document. So it's not us making these links. They are telling you. That document also tells you this is part of the 2030 comprehensive sexuality education. And it also uses the word agenda. It's their words, Phil, in their educational documents.
Totally agree with you. And I'm just going to hopefully be able to get something up that should be able to validate that. Is that the right one? Yeah. Right. Okay. Here we go. I'm just going to put this on. And it's at a particular point. This is a video that I done in June last year. It was of a gripe that Tony Bugle, a lady that I know and have much respect for doing this, she got in touch with me about it. And it was an exhibition, Kimberly, that was being held in London, totally under the radar. And it was a blog that someone had put up because they'd gone as a teacher, but under a training scheme, yeah? And they witnessed this and they couldn't believe it. they couldn't believe what they were actually seeing. It was just crazy, all under the guise of, you know, transgender and whatnot, but it was sick. So I'm going to play it from this point, because this video kind of tells you on a more international level some of the shenanigans that are going on.
The interests of organizations like UNFPA and IPPF is to get parents out of the picture and to radicalize and sexualize children.
UNFPA has tried to convince my country to change our positions on issues such as reproductive rights and comprehensive sexuality education. Madam Chair, does the UNFPA think it can do this because Nauru is the smallest member states of the United Nations?
The Nigerian government was actually told by the Western countries that if they do not give in, that they will be denied foreign aid.
On page 89 of a UNICEF-published Sexual and Reproductive Health Manual, UNICEF listed situations in which one can obtain sexual pleasure that included sexual responses directed towards inanimate objects, animals, minors, and non-consenting persons.
But on reflection, perhaps...
So, did you get any of that, Kimberly?
Yeah.
So this goes back, them implementations, they sound very familiar as to what's going on in this country, and also what will be given after chance will be going your way as well. But did you hear what that lady was saying about foreign aid being denied if you don't come under that umbrella?
Yeah, that's what we kept telling people as well, that the poor countries didn't want it, Phil, and they were told that their funding would be cut if they didn't have it.
So we can see how countries will capitulate, particularly tiny third world countries. They haven't got a chance.
Yeah.
And this is all under the guise of saving them, in a sense, sexual reproduction and whatnot, and, you know, particularly diseases, and the way they address certain issues, particularly AIDS and what they were telling the children, is nothing short of abuse.
Well, our document, the UNESCO document, that's done on 87 studies. 23 of those are from third world countries based on AIDS and HIV. So 40 of them done in the States. Highly manipulative. This is not for anyone's good, Phil. Those third world countries need food, water, energy, clothing, education. They do not need this. No,
well, there was parts of the article, and I think your colleague brought it up in his video as well, where with the advice on AIDS, that you don't necessarily have to tell your partner that you've got AIDS.
Yeah, it's just sexual, right? If you don't feel comfortable wearing a condom and disclosing that you've got HIV or AIDS, you don't have to. It's just sexual right not to. So, and then, like we've mentioned that to somebody, and somebody's come back with a response saying, "Oh, it's manslaughter in such and such a country." For now, this education didn't start the same day in every country. It's taken a long time. It says in the government's document, well, in the United Nations document, after much pressure, the UK government gave in 2017. This was in California in 2014. There was books on a kindergarten shelf on bondage. I can't find the name of that book. It took a year of campaign to remove it. Then the legislation came in 2019. I can't find the name of that book, which tells me it's coming back, right? Now I found one in New Zealand, but I'm not sure if it's the same book, but the one in New Zealand's got the penguins. I'm assuming so because of what I got from the articles. But even the names of books, there's a few books have been banned as well. One of them talked about giving oral sex as a 6-year-old. You know, I can't remember the name now, but that's been banned permanently, you know, but you can find the name for that. So this stuff is coming, Phil, it's coming hard and fast. Yeah. And like I said, it didn't all start on the same day, and it didn't all start in the same place. Two places where this is strong is California and Texas. Texas has just implemented pedophilia on their curriculum in school.
Well, let me just go back to one video, which was the last segment of what your colleague, I'm sorry, what's his name again? The guy who done the video for you.
Oh, that was Stephen Jenkins.
Brilliant. Tell him from me, he done a fantastic job, really. But I'm just going to play this last clip because I want to bring up a point that he brought up on there.
Why has all this sudden change in the delivery of sex education come about? The World Health Organization and UNESCO are rolling these programs out worldwide in partnership with organizations such as Planned Parenthood and the Sexuality Information and Education Council of the United States, or SECUS, and also the Kinsey Institute.
Right, I'm going to stop it there. Kinsey Institute. Because he then goes on, this is why people need to watch this video, what he made. Because he breaks down basically what this Dr. Alfred Kinsley was all about.
Yeah.
The face that's been portrayed, and basically what he's referring to is his work is the Bible, basically the implementations of what we're going through now. So what he's saying, when you watch a documentary that he led me to go and research, there's a book that this Dr. Alfred Kinsley brought out in the 1940s, which revolutionized looking at the sexuality of the human, particularly the male.
Yeah.
What he didn't say is that the data, because he was a scientific guy, this Dr. Kinsley, and I've not watched all of it, it's fascinating. This Dr. Kinsley gathered his data by talking to known paedophiles and predators who meticulously put down data. So as they were abusing someone, they were doing things like timing them for masturbating, and basically how many times a kid can and this was written down as a bona fide book and put under science, but yet it later come out that the chap in the main data of this guy is from a known paedophile that was called King, but his code name was Green. Now, it intimated that in order to collate this data that was in the book, it's all in the book, this guy must have at least abused up to 1,200 children in order just to get that data. Never mind what he'd done before. Shocking. When you look at King, that's the institute that then is in line with the education of your child when it comes to sex. And
this is where it's all come from. This is where it's all come from. So like when you spoke about Pi, this is Pi's biggest, older, uglier brother. Do you know what I mean? Pi just, people think Pi is bad. This is it. And like, this is why we get so upset with people not looking into it. Because this is as serious as it gets. This is as serious as it gets, you know? Would you ask Jimmy Savile to come and look after your kids? No, you would not. So why are you going off on Alfred Kinsey's education? But the thing is, you start talking about stuff like that, and you're a conspiracy theorist then. This is why these people need to see it for themselves. The evidence is there for them, and all we can do is lead them so far. And if they are that bothered, they'll find the rest. And this is why I keep saying to people, you haven't researched, because if you research, you would have come back crying, or you would have come back feeling sick, or you would have had to have a week off work. Because I'm a criminologist, and like I said, I do a lot of work, child sex abuse, exploitation, harmful sexual behavior. I read terrible court documents. I can't even acknowledge that research because it's so bad.
So imagine then,
babies. They were doing this to babies.
Kimberly, you've just brought up a massive point, right? Let's look at the psyche here, because obviously you're a professional individual that looks at the mind on this subject. Imagine what you've just explained about the discernment, knowing that knowledge, listening to people, gaining the knowledge of, abuse victims or whatever troubles have gone through. What must be going through the mind of an individual that wants to collate a book with data that's trying to prove that kids are sexually active from the moment they're born in order to do what is sexual deviant experiments?
Where did the confidence come from? The confidence comes from somewhere, doesn't it? You don't openly come out with this. Do you know what I mean? The confidence comes from somewhere. There had to be. He was looked up to as a god. You
That's
know,
the
he was billed as an absolute god. So,
And we said this before. We were saying this before about the media and how the media always avoid you when you're out on the road with your cards because of what that image may kind of open a can of worms. And then we got talking about, isn't it funny how the big media, they tend to want to project that they're doing everything for safeguarding, but yet you've still got Eric Gill's statue that's prominently put outside the BBC. They're still complicit with what was going on with Jimmy Savile and the countless other people that are done sexual offences within that organisation and within politics and within the governmental system within itself.
You can't operate on that scale on your own. You know, so you cannot operate on that scale on your own, and people need. My friend Adele, my colleague Adele, she likes to try and show people, look, the statistic of abused kids is not a statistic; it's much more than that. But I'm like, hang on a minute now, these kids aren't abusing themselves. Let's look amongst ourselves, yeah. Let's stop trying to find the abused kids, and let's try to start looking at the people that's actually doing it. You know, this is what we need to do now, is to look amongst ourselves. If doesn't matter what statistic you want to choose, let's just take the 1 in 4 statistic. Then isn't at least 1 in 4 adults abusers? How many adults do you know, Phil? You know, we have to start realizing the magnitude of this. You know, paedophiles they don't wear a trench coat and they're not stood with a bag of Haribos. A lot of them lead double lives. A lot of them haven't got a criminal record. This is why they're DBS checked, and they carry that as a badge of honor. That is not a badge of honor at all. It's just giving you access to kids, and it stopped people then that maybe had a stupid conviction years ago who could work really well with kids. It's stopping them getting through them, you know? So it causes more problems than it's worth in my eyes. But they are
at this point. Sorry, can I just say at this point, Katie, jump in. I still see on the comments that you've said, and I'm sorry that I've been engaged in the conversation, so I've not really been looking at the comments. But jump in. You don't have to ask, Katie. You know what I mean? I knew you'd be kind of relevant on this, but at the point, it was just something that was arranged between Kimberly and I didn't want to throw a load of strange faces on, and Kimberly, how are you doing? You know, look at him. Everyone just chat. Just wanted to make it just, you know, so you kind of could be, 1 sec. She's coming on in 1 sec, right? So it just flabbergasts me. I can't get my head round how this is complicit behaviour, but same again, it's getting the message through to people that they've got to see this as a thing before they can actually get outraged. And it's how can you get them to see that this is actually not normal behaviour?
Exactly. Even newspaper articles that's the media sensationalizing it. Well, no, because what you need to do is just click on the highlighted words and it takes you to the original source. It's not easy to figure out, you know.
Let me play one more video.
They have to see it themselves, Phil. Like we can talk about the research it's gone into, we can talk about the technical side of it all day long, but we need them to see the basics. We need them to see the danger. We'll sort out the technical stuff, but we need these people to understand that this is happening and this danger is real.
I don't see why they can't. You've only got to look at your own kid. I mean, honestly, I look and I think, what? I know girls and boys have always done the cheeky thing growing up, but I look how sexually kind of provocative, and that's the only way of looking at it. And that's my own daughter, and I'm like, really? You pull that skirt down? You know what I mean? There's like the moon just comes through our house when she's walking, and I'm like, don't you go up the stairs when I'm anywhere near you, because God knows what I'm going to be looking at. And it's like, but where did he get it from?
Yeah,
it's only what all the others do. But I've actually had phone calls off the teacher going, well, we've told her about a skirt. It's all right. We'll go into the school, talk to them. We'll stand outside the school gates. Every other female pupil has got the skirt just as short, if not shorter.
Well, that's it. They naturally want to be older, don't they? And they're gaining the attention then of older guys as well. And this is another thing, you know, this is a danger to teenage girls, because they're getting told that they can consent. They're given charts, a traffic light chart, telling them what is consent and what is not consent. Well, I'm so glad they can simplify it like in a little.
But
You
then
know,
again, we've got to look at the safeguarding angle of this, because that's like a red rag to a bull. I mean, you've got boys that are growing up, and and then you're kind of injecting this promiscuity into children at a young age. So boys are going to be a bit fresher than they was, because we're all supposed to be sexually liberated. You've got the girls that are being told what parts of the body and how to touch it and what they get from it. So is that not going to lead to sexual exploration at a far younger age than what it needs to be? So then when it scratches into maybe a bit of indecent fondling at school, or even worse, a sexual incident at school because of this.
In 2 years, there was well over 2,000 sexual assaults in England and Wales between 2016 and 2018. There was over 600 rapes in 2 years. They're only in school 190 odd days of the year, Phil.
When you put it like that, I mean, that's crazy. And you can't ultimately blame it on just the educational system, because
it's everybody got a role to play.
Yeah, they'll be sending videos on phones, and there's the bar. Ultimately, I'll say it, and I don't mind being opinionated on this, because most people will agree. The bar has been massively lowered in society when it comes to certain aspects now. That what do you expect a population to act like when there's no old bars anymore? It's almost like Rome. I'm not waiting for when it's legal to actually marry. In fact, it is. I've done a video where there was weddings in America of a guy marrying a dog. So really, when you're there, you know what I mean? It really doesn't matter anymore. Right? Katie don't want in yet. Come on, Katie. Seriously? Come on. What go on in? Right, hurry up. Come on. I'm professionally, Katie. You know what I mean? Sorry, she's coming in, bull marching in, and then she wants me to wait. I don't run like that, Kimberly. I'm sorry. I just have to say. How you doing, Katie?
Oh, there she is.
Hi.
Yeah, you are. Right, okay. So, Kimberly, Katie Jane Swallow, Kimberly, childrensmatter.news. Now, Katie, what have you been thinking of this stream? Because you've wanted to get active on this for a while.
Well, yeah, I mean, you're speaking a lot of my language there. I mean, I'm a survivor myself, and I'm also a victim of forced adoption. So both my kids were taken by the state. So a lot of what I've been fighting over the last few years, and a lot of what you've said, is exactly the same thing I've been saying, and it's really refreshing.
It is all the same thing, but the problem you've got is, as you will know, people think they're isolated incidents. They're not isolated incidents.
Nah.
You know?
They're not. I mean, if you look at Children Matter in a whole, I mean, Phil's part of Children Matter as well. I mean, we've got so many different groups that are a part of Children Matter, that come from different angles, because if there's one thing that Children Matter understands.
It all rolls into one. We got the government making these laws, and then we got the local authority implementing them. But then the government can't get involved with local authority decisions, but local authorities don't do what governments say. No. That needs to change. Do you know what I mean? I've got a friend that's going through something similar now. Her children has been taken because her sister was raped by her father as a child. So they've taken her children for future emotional harm. It just doesn't
only compounding it even more. I mean, what more do you want to do? I mean, go on, Katie. Anything you want to say? Jump in.
Quickly, before everyone in my chat starts getting a bit upset with me for not bringing it up first, a couple of people have been trying to get access to that link that you put in before, but they can't get access to it, so they're wondering what the title was for it, so they might be able to find it.
Oh, I think it's called What Every Parent Should Know About RSE. I think that's what it's called.
Now.
One of my mods actually put that in the chat as well, so that's the title, guys. If you do want to go check that out, and you can
I'll tell you what it's called. It's called a video every parent should watch RSE.
Yeah.
Right. Let me try again, because what I'm going to do, I'm going to copy the link to the page. I copied the link to the actual video, so for some reason, I don't know why that didn't work. So I do apologize. Don't like to put things out and waste people's time. So just bear with me, and I'll just stick. It's
while
a
you're
great
doing
video.
that,
Yeah.
Kim, I believe that you're actually going to be on Wake Up UK. If you've already been on it a couple of times, I believe, as well.
Yeah, we've got a show we've got a show now on a Sunday, 9 o'clock.
Awesome.
Excellent.
Are you on there, Katie? Yeah?
I have. I've been on Wake Up UK for a couple of years now. I've been on it since it was Right Unita. So
Have you?
unfortunately, I'm one of the oldies on there.
Oh, we are new, and we've just been so busy. There's loads of shows going on. We're missing everything, so we will get it. Hopefully, Christmas time, when things will calm down a bit, and we can get to know other people on there. You know.
Yeah, well, I've been a bit hectic on there, especially the last couple of months with the lockdown and everything else that's been going on. So Jason's kindly, instead of removing me from Wake Up UK, added Wake Up UK to my Cocoa Morning, so it runs simultaneously along with it instead now.
Oh, I can't even, I take my hat off to you. I can't even think about what's going on with lockdown right now with the kids and care and things like that.
That's
I
a
can't.
problem, though, isn't it? People don't understand.
My brain won't take it. That's why, do you know what? This education for me has been a bit of
This is full on, though.
You know what I mean? I don't think I
This is
can.
full on.
Some things I've got to ignore and try and fight. You know what I mean? It's just
No, I totally agree with you.
about thinking about, to be honest. So I take my hat off to you. I really do.
I mean, because like I say, I've been doing this 4 years, and I tend to dip my toe in certain subjects. But this, when you go real far, you can go as far to sadistic ritual abuse. When you're digging into this and the people, the characters behind it, and what they're projecting, it's literally satanic. That it's crazy. So
unfortunately, the stream, I had a video a documentary that a YouTuber had put together, a YouTuber called Surviving Life. He'd put this big documentary together. It was 3 hours, 20 minutes long. And I used that video in a lot of things, especially to introduce people that didn't know what my side of the cause was, like Kim saying her side of the cause is as well. It literally showed you how horrible it actually is without pushing you over the edge. But it would show you how bad it was. It'd go onto the deep web. It'd show you conversations between pedo families. Then you've got mums putting their kids up for sale. It went into a whole deep, dark thing. And a lot of these kids that are being put into these circles are forced adoption kids, are kids that have been nicked from care, who have walked off the streets. All these kids aren't, not even all of them are targeted by forced adoption. A lot of these kids are just vulnerable kids that have been groomed, neglected, abused, abandoned. You know, this is why it's so important that all of the groups are stood united, because the kids are affected from
the thing is, it's a vicious circle, and this is what I was saying in one of the first videos I put out, because I've never done videos or anything like that. It got to a point where it just had to be done, and that's what I said in one of my videos. I said, the thing is, you don't see this stuff, and when with these kids got these sexual rights in school, and you preach you with child sexual rights, and local authority becomes involved, you get a gag order. That's why you don't know about it. That's why you don't think these things are real. I've got 2 adopted cousins, and those adoptions were not, they might have been forced adoptions, but they were older kids, and they had been there a long time, and it was choice. The second one had changed his name and everything. So my auntie's foster for 20 years. There's been a case where my nephew was taken from birth, but his mother was a baby machine for the local authority. This was the 13th child, you know, but unlucky for them, we managed to get him back. And it's a vicious circle, and people think, I remember I posted something about missing kids, and somebody said that would never happen. The school will report that to social services straight away. These people live in a mad reality that doesn't exist, and this is why everybody needs to speak up now. Everybody needs to come forward, because we hear time and time again, like scandals in care homes and things like that. Those aren't isolated incidents, and they are not historical either. You know, they're not historical. So people need to stop thinking around that. And it takes us back to the media, doesn't it? Do you know what I mean? They don't know. Well, the media don't tell them. So this is where we've all got to start telling them.
You know what, Kimberly? Do you think a lot of it with people is that they prefer to think that it's not happening? Because it's an uncomfortable world once you do get that discernment about this subject.
I think they don't think that it happens often. You know, and also, like they would say, oh, with the forced adoption, no smoke without fire. No smoke without fire. Social services wouldn't be there unless there was need. It's too many. Like I said about that woman about the missing kids. Oh no, the schools would report it to social services.
But then when you,
most of the bloody kids.
it doesn't take a lot of the mind though, Kimberly. I mean, even today, I mean, I've been covering this in so many different ways. I've spoken to so many people that it's made me pretty much physically depressed, you know, after conversations, listening to the story. I've got no right to be, but it's because of the subject matter. It's horrible to deal with, never mind what the person's going through. But particularly today, looking at the work of Dr. Alfred Kinsley, if anyone is going to amass a book that then the data is going to be rolled out as sexual liberation, but in reality, it's data that's been extracted from the abuse of over 1,000 children and measured so meticulously, it's nothing more than evil. I mean, what part of that are people not going to realize, and why are they giving you any kind of rub off when in reality it's there?
Yeah, exactly. But also as well, see, there's always a play on words, and it's like you said, with the global rollout, it's a comprehensive sexuality education. Well, they wouldn't really use that term in this country because CSE to us is child sexual exploitation. So, you know, and those documents are child sexual exploitation as well. So it's very much a play on words and how they fetch it in different areas as well. And like you said, when people say it protects from abuse, they think it safeguards, you know. Correct terminology, yeah, that's safeguards, and that is enough for people. That is enough, you know.
So it's like people just move away then, don't they?
Yeah, they're all caught up in their own lives, and that, they would never do that. They would never do that, Phil. So I did. I was speaking in an event, and I held up a A4 piece of paper, and I said on here, I said there's 34 convictions of policymakers, politicians, councillors, and their jaws dropped. So but then I opened it out. And it was 29 pages long, and it was all politicians, councillors, school governors, teachers, everyone involved in policy making, basically 29 pages, all taped together, Phil. And I didn't realize how big it was, you know, until they pulled it out. And then it's like, what? But then that drew a lot of attention, you know, that actually sparked interest then in some people. And then with other people, it's been Breaking Chains TV's video that sparked interest. So it's something different for different people all the time. And that's why we just got to keep going until whatever it takes to wake that person up happens, you know. But it's very much a thing where we can't stop. We can't stop now because, like Katie, you know, all these services are joined. They all connect. There's problems in them all. And now that we're on this journey, we can't stop, because if we stop now, we failed.
Anything you want to say, Katie?
Well, it's 100% true. I mean, when she was saying about Kim was saying about the vicious cycle. I mean, I'm a kid in care. I was a kid from care, you know, and they went after my kids.
Well, that's it. My brother was in care, see, Katie, and that's why they went after us. And now I'm not really close to him, but obviously when I heard what was going on, I came straight in. I'm educated, so I'm a street kid. But now I'm educated, and I don't like those people thinking they're better than us, right? So I'm one of those. I'm like a justice fighter. They were shocked. They were like, "Oh, you was in care as well, was I?" I said, "No, I wasn't." But that was it, because the mother had been in care and my brother had been in care. Straight away, then they had walked all over him. But it turns out my brother's raising that child by himself now, mind, from a baby, you know. But we didn't win that fight clean. We had to record things, you know. I didn't get it, and that was twin tracked with adoption. That was from birth, and they stopped it. They stopped it right at the very end, which is very unusual. But that's because you in this game you have to fight the way they fight, and it's not clean.
You got to fight it with light, I always find, and that's the one thing they hate, Kim. You know, they hate that.
This is what I hate it. They just like they create a vulnerability in someone. They create that vulnerability, and then they play on it. And people that actually genuinely need help, right? The threshold for help is up there. When they actually get there, it's far too intrusive. All I see is breakdown of families everywhere we turn. There's no support for them. Like I myself, additional needs mother, there's been times I've phoned social service for help. Those phone calls have been hard for me to make and admit. I've never had the help. I've never had the help, though, you know, and all I need was a little bit of help now and then. It's not there for the people like me that want it. It's there for the people
it's a control mechanism there. I mean, fundamentally, what you're saying then is you know, it's all right that them saying that they're going to do this and it's all about safeguarding and helping. But in reality, it's ultimately conditioning and steering, which is more social engineering than actually helping and trying to get your populace to be more prosperous. And as a family, you know what I mean? Because everything else seems to work against that. I mean, what would you say to that, Katie?
Well, see, I get this question a lot. Well, what's the purpose for doing it? Why are they doing it? There's no one answer to why they're doing it, because they're doing it for multiple different reasons. It's like the first 3 steps within forced adoption. Separate the parents, so leave the vulnerable one alone with all the kids. Separate the kids from the mum, so you leave the vulnerable parent trying to juggle everything, including contacts, trying to stay stable, court, house, bills, everything else like that. And then they separate the kids, because it'll desensitize the kids. That slow breakdown of destroying the family bonds and then passing off to strangers, that has so many different impacts on kids' mental health, on the stability, on their ability to bond, on their ability to communicate with people down the line. Also means they're more likely to fall into circles of abuse, which means that they're more of a statistic. There is so many different ways about, like, they go about it. It's like the other side of it with the parents. A lot of parents who've had the kids taken away will be lucky to ever be able to take their child home from a hospital ever again. They'd be lucky to not be forced into a C-section just before you're about to go into labour anyway.
Yeah.
It destroys your life completely. It's like when you look at everything I'm qualified to do, and then you look at my background, I'm qualified to do everything to do with families, to do with children. I'm more qualified than my own social worker, than the manager of my own social worker, because I went out on my way to make a point of going and getting all that training in psychology, sociology, child behaviour, promoting positive child behaviour, safeguarding, welfare, everything. It doesn't matter. It's to break down the parents. Yeah, a lot of people end up homeless in the long run after they've lost their kids. They can no longer afford, they're no longer entitled to benefits, so they lose their house, they lose everything. Families get chucked in the bin and thrown away. It has so many different reasons, just one side of the coin.
I'll tell you one thing though, Kate, the breakdown of the family unit definitely does grease the skids on this, doesn't it? Because if you can get in between the relationship and the bonding that you've got with your parents and the ethics that family should have and will have, and you can inject this nefarious activity, it's far easier for it to work if the family are not as cohesive, if you constantly try to rip away at what the family ethic is all about. Do you not find?
This isn't something that works slowly. This isn't something that works quickly, like overnight, and it's not something that even goes on for a year. This is something that's been dragging out since 1934 alone. Just that one cause. Imagine how long the other causes have been going on for. And that amount of abuse and desensitization that family units have been put under since that time, added with technology, with everything else that goes along with it, this isn't something that's just randomly did.
Working longer for less money, it's we don't, everybody's just too busy now. Family time is something special now. Do you know what I mean? To have family time, it's like you've actually got to book a date for it.
But
let's
look at this.
You've got family time every single Sunday, around grandma or whatever,
Everyone's that busy now that even when you do get your family time, do you remember what it's like to be a family? Because you do get conditioned to be so separate and in your own little bubble of what the individual family member is all about. So I remember scenarios, guys used to tell me at work that they were working that busy to try and get the 2-3 holidays a year, 7 days, whatever, foreigners after work, that when they actually did get abroad and they're on the Lilo or whatever, that they couldn't even bond with the family because they're used to seeing the family because they're working, in this place, in that place, all day long, all night long, and try to get the money. So essentially, it's like, it's a hard battle to try and keep everything in place at the same time, isn't it? And I suppose women will find that even tougher than men, because women are being told that you've got to be career-minded nowadays. You've got to leave all that nurture shit in the bin.
Yeah.
Well, here's the thing. They say they want you to do that, but See, when I was going through contact, I got criticised in court because I was prioritising contact with my kids and working to get my kids home. So I went out and I ended up getting 2 jobs. I was doing one with, you see the people walking around with the tablets asking you about your gas and electric. Yeah, that was me for a while. But it was the only job that allowed me to have 3 mornings off a week and a day off every week because of contact. And then I was doing a night shift at a bar, doing waitressing. Next thing you know, in court, I'm getting criticised because apparently I'm putting my interests of wanting to work before my kids. How'd you win? I organised work around my kids to be told in court and criticised in court that I prioritise my work above my kids.
Kimberly?
And even when you're a single parent and you want to educate yourself, you can't claim benefits. So, you can't claim benefits if you want to study. So I would be up all night with my son who was depressed, insomnia, really bad mental health issues, but I couldn't get any help from the state from it. It's one or the other. So I'm just fortunate that, my kids were looked after. Do you know what I mean? My kids were looked after, and I just went along with the flow because I was determined not to let the system beat me. I'm one of those like, no way. Yeah. You're not going to do this to me. But the system is happy to support me in a 16-hour-a-week job earning peanuts. The system is prepared to support that. It's not prepared to support you working 3 to 5 years and then you give something back, something properly back. It's not prepared to do that because people like us, we felt life. They don't want us educated. People like us know these policies don't work, and people like us know how to do things better. We can simplify things. They like to complicate things and keep us all on our toes.
Well, one
complication and confusion as well, Katie, isn't it? Because a lot of people, I don't care who you are, every single person is vulnerable to the system. Every single person. If you've worked all your life and you've had a good job, you've always been comfortable. If something happens and you're suddenly up against the system, whether it be social services, you're jobless, you've lost your house, anything. The moment you are faced with the system, every single person is vulnerable. And people don't realise that.
Well, I actually had a conversation with my mum today, and anyone who knows me knows that me and my mum only talk every couple of months because she just wants to check I'm still alive. So, because it's December, and me and her kind of ended up getting into a bit of a row because she was giving me advice, and bless her, she was trying to be helpful about how I could, move on with what's happened with my kids and all the rest of it. And it was just one of them where you just sit back and you're like, tried that, done that. Yeah, I've been trying to do that for a while. What do you think I've been trying to do for the last 4 years? Like, constantly we ended up getting into a bit of a row about it because I said about a year and a half ago, went to the hairdressers, as standard people do, to go and get their hair done. And this is actually the last time I've been to the hairdressers because of this. And as hairdressers do, and I should know this, I work as a beautician, I should know this. It's standard practice to ask, do you have kids? For anyone, that is just a standard question for people is, have you got kids? Yeah. I said, yeah, obviously, because I do, and I'm not a liar. Then went on to ask where they are, and panic set in because I wasn't expecting that question next. But it's a standard question. Oh, when they ask you, are they with your partner and everything? And when they asked me to do with my partner, I thought, well, my pictures are there, so yeah. It was just that instant panic, and people don't realise that it's something that does stick with you for life, even when you get over something that's happened to you. I mean, people on here, they know my story, they know what happened with me, they know about my kids, they know everything. So I've got no issues. I mean, ask me anything, I will tell you. I don't have anything to hide. But then people you don't know who, it was my own fault for judging anyway. But it was one of them people don't understand the stigma that is stuck with you with where you go and what you do. And because of that panic, I've not been to the hairdresser since. I now do it myself.
No, everyone can relate to that in so many different ways, whether they're going through what you're going through or other relative situations. It's just the little sticky moments that turn up that kind of make us all real in a way. I mean, Kimberly, what work are you currently doing at the moment moving forward? Have you got anything lined up? Have you got any events or anything?
Yeah,
online?
Friday we're going to go outside the Senedd. It's only to mark the end of stage 1. They think, like I said, we had a petition going. I don't know if I said, but they had removed some of the really important links in those petitions and replaced them with sites that celebrated abortions and things like that. So then they sent us an email last Thursday to say, if you haven't got 5,000 signatures by the 1st of December, it's going up to 10,000. But they informed everybody else who petitions running about that like a week before. So we were waiting for this date for the end of stage 1. That wasn't advertised like the rest of the dates, so it was hidden in a different document. So we're going down. We've got people there, special educational needs, bullying in school, suicides in school, whistleblowing teachers, care leavers, Katie. So we got Viv speaking about her stories. So all the failings in the system and education failings on the RSE and the sexual abuse and everything else, we're just going to go outside the Senedd. We're all going to give a talk. We don't know how many's going to be there. It's a last minute thing. Hopefully we'll get a decent crowd there, and hopefully we'll go on then to get a bigger crowd then ready for February, But what we're doing is we're around the towns, any protest we can get to, we go into. We're just raising awareness. Raising awareness. But this Friday we'll be outside the Senedd in Cardiff at 11 o'clock.
So this Friday, 11 o'clock in Cardiff, yeah?
Yeah.
What I'd love to say, Kimberly, it's up to you. You don't have to do this, but if you could get any footage of any of your speakers or even yourself, if you can get anyone who can hold a camera in a decent way.
Well, that's another reason why we're going down there, Phil. Whether we get a big crowd or not, we're going to film our speeches, and we want to get them out there because people need to see, especially the additional needs parents. They fight every day for their rights, and now all of a sudden they want to give them up for this RSE. People need reminding of their everyday life. I don't know where their common sense has gone. It's like what they do every day, doesn't matter. I don't know. So yeah, that's what we're doing. That's what it's about. It's about getting everyone's stories out there. Because like I said, Bradley John's father, Byron, is still fighting for justice now. He's had no accountability for his son's death in school. That it destroyed the family, and people need to know about this stuff. So
certainly, yeah. I'd love to. Be honestly, you're more than welcome to come back anytime and talk about this. If you want to talk. You want to arrange something in a week or so's time once you've had this event. Like I say, if you've got any footage to supplement it, we can do the same again, get back together, see where you're at now, see how that event went, play a bit of footage to kind of collaborate it and just put bookends on it. I'd love to be able to chat to the Steve, you say, the chap
Steve Jenkins, do you want me to send him a message for you?
Well, yeah, I mean, what we could do, if you're all right with that, how about you two come on next? Whenever, at a time of your choosing, and we can go, he can talk through that video and obviously break down his level of research as well, because I've just butchered it really, but the guy obviously knows what he's talking about. And I just want to give you guys an ear. I'd love to do that. I'd love to have you back again, whenever you're ready.
Yeah, of course I can send him a message. And because to be honest with you, I haven't had much of a catch up with him since he's released the video. And to be fair, he did that off his own back, Phil.
Brilliant. He's done a fantastic job. I'm going to definitely re-upload it again tomorrow. And then I'm going to put the notification, a link for his YouTube. And I'll just put all the information out there. Yeah. And I might even re-edit and put little bits on it myself, because I want to touch on the Dr. Alfred Kinsley angle a little bit and just expand it where he just kind of just delivered it. It's not nice viewing, but this is the truth, and it is the truth. Katie.
Yes.
Thank you for jumping on. Is there any last words you want to say before I?
Well, I'm going to jump on and do a random stream anyway, just having a natter. And Apollo's pointed out a minute ago that I had PTSD, but as a surprise, I'm going to talk to everyone about where my PTSD comes from on my stream. So yeah, I'm just gonna have a natter. So if anyone wants to come over and have a laugh, they're more than welcome to.
So that's going to be on childrensmatter.news coming up any moment now. And
I
you
need to make a thumbnail and everything for it first, but it will be up not long after this.
look at you, serial stream of this one, Kimberly. I'm telling you, something not right with this one.
I've been sat here all day dying to get on the internet. But my mum set me off this morning. I've just been sat here like bored. I got on TikTok and made videos because I was bored.
No, know what you like. I've got this, and then I've got Britt Gill and hopefully Janaea coming on Friday. I've got a little chat there, and I might be doing a little bit of some exercise over the weekend. Nudge, nudge, wink, wink, wink. So we'll have to see where that one goes. I'll have to be in touch with you on that exactly.
We need to speak at some point about the thing I sent you too.
Right. Yeah, we will. Just let me finish this off with Kimberly. Kimberly, it's been a pleasure. Thank you very much.
Phil. I really appreciate this opportunity.
You don't have to thank me, honestly. Anything I can do. And thanks again to Amanda for initiating this, really.
Yeah, definitely. Thank you, Amanda.
Just to put bookends on it, how can people reach you, and any other bits of information you want them to know?
The best place to look right now is our website, www.publicchildprotectionwales.org. We're on Facebook. We've got a page on Facebook, Public Child Protection Wales. We've also got the campaign, which is Education Our Say, Our Way, which is on Facebook. But it's being censored, the group is. Sometimes you can find it, sometimes you can't. There's over 5,000 people on there, but all the information's on there. You can just send a message through the website or anything. We're all easy to contact.
Brilliant. I know my subbers will give you all the support that they can, because same again, you've come onto a channel. It's almost like singing to the choir here, Kimberly, because everyone's pretty versed up on what is going on in terms of how malicious on a sexual nature it is with our children here. So honestly, you're in good company, and I know they'll love you to come back again and literally talk about any developments coming up. That'd be brilliant.
Oh, thank you very much. I really appreciate this. Nobody else is. Very few people are giving us the time.
You've all got children. I don't understand it. Seems crazy.
Children can never help you in any way, then just give us a shout. We'd be happy to help, even if it's giving you a show, helping you with technology. I mean, anything we can do with that.
Thank you. We use as a technology, but I've started video editing and all sorts. I've had to learn new skills just for this.
Yeah, I know. It's the one good thing that comes out the badness of you learning and you're waking up. Ingenuity or necessity breeds ingenuity. So because you've suddenly got a problem, you have to get round it. And 9 times out of 10, it means you kind of can't rely on half a dozen people, because particularly now, you tend to have to be a bit more self-sufficient than we've ever had to have been. So you have to learn the skills yourself in order to advance. And there's so many people around me that are saying the same thing. Like, I want to get into this because I want to do that, and I want to do that. And they're like realizing that they've got to do it. But it's very pleasurable when you can see your own personal development growing with doing them things,
Yeah, that's it, isn't it? Facing my demons, facing my technological demons.
All right, guys. Well, listen, thanks again, Kimberly. It's been brilliant. And same again, we'll have you back as soon as you want. Just give me the nod. When you get in touch with Steve, let me know through Messenger, and then we'll work it.
I will do. Thanks. Well, nice to meet you, Katie. Hope to speak to you again soon. Bye.
Have a great evening. Have a great evening, Kimberly. See you now. Bye. Bye. Wow. Right. Wow. She's amazing. Amazing. Hey up. Hey up. Katie just jumps out. How double dare you just walk out the room like that? I'm like, what? That's the equivalent to I'm talking to someone and they just turn and walk away. I'm like,
at least I only went in the background and I didn't leave.
No, it's all right. It's all right. I was just going to say a couple of last words anyway. No, it's fine. I'm glad you jumped in anyway. Thanks for your time there. And I'll leave you to it because it sounds like you're chomping at the bit to get back on. But thank you for the use of your channel as well, because when you said anything I can do to help, you're already helping, because you're already helping me to do this. Plus, I'm streaming it through your channel as well.
I know. It's I love seeing I was on your stream for ages, and then I seen Jason from Wake Up UK shared somebody came up, shared your post. I was like, I'm not live. And then went on Children Matter and seen. I was like, yay!
Oh no, look at this. I didn't even tell you. That's courtesy for you, isn't it? You know what I mean? But I
Oh,
thought
no, I fucking buzz over it. Honestly,
Well,
like Sharon
subject
Biggs
matter.
does it as well. It's great.
It's subject matter is so relevant. I don't like to just second to people's channels because ultimately my material might not be in line with what you want to do, and I've got to be realised that. But particularly with it, it's like
Doesn't
okay, that's a
bother me.
no-brainer.
I'm literally gonna jump on just to have a laugh and just have a chat with people in a minute. You can use it however you want. We used to do blogs on the channel as well, so like different ones of the team had like their own blogs that they'd do while they were out and about walking and whatever. So
Right.
Children Matter just runs however Children Matter runs, as long as it's not offensive. Anything goes.
You'll be getting. How does Red Pill Phil open a tin of paint? Let me film it. Ding, ding, ding. There you go, guys. Upload. No, you know, it'll be the most frivolous post that you've ever had. No, but I try and respect what you're doing and try and work in line with it to enhance it. It's not there just to be abused. It's there to be used properly for a reason. You know what I mean? I'm responsible,
Kate. Got a laugh. My mum's debating joining YouTube.
Is she?
Yeah.
As in what? As a sub to subscribe or to literally start posting? Yes, yes. Get it on. I want it on. I want it on.
Me and my mum are nothing alike. Right? My mum makes her own clothes and dresses like she's in the 20s.
Honestly, I want to know what already. Can I be a first guest when she does her live streams?
She's gonna be making stuff like.
Yeah. Yes. That's what we want. We need more creative people on YouTube. You know what I mean?
I'll see if I can pull up the pictures actually of what she's been making because she sent them me before trying to show off, and I'm just looking at them like that's my mum.
Yes, I definitely up for that. The amount of people that bring you down on YouTube with crap that they just literally need to go and talk to themselves. Don't go on fucking line saying it because no one wants to hear it. But then
here's the bird feeder she's been making.
And what is that? I'm looking. It looks like cups. It looks like someone's been in and rubbed her. Yeah, and bits of this and A there. What's
bird feeders.
What is it?
Bird feeders.
Bird feeders.
Yeah, she's made her own bird feeders.
Wow, out of cups and saucers. That's original.
And she's made fucking plant cozies as well.
Oh, bless her. Are these for sale or is this just for the crack?
She's been making some to sell.
Look at them. Your mum's got a bit of a talent. Okay, you want to celebrate that?
But here's my talent. Are you ready for my talent?
What's your talent?
Oh, it's not loading, damn it. Fuck, it's not loading. My cake's not loading.
Look at the size of that. That's a bad boy, isn't it? That looked like some cake.
They're not even loading, though. And that one was all multicoloured. It's 3 layers.
Look at it. There's a lot going on in there.
Are these going to load? None of them are loading.
Cakes.
I can't believe they're not loading, though. Damn it. But yeah, that's the shit my mum makes.
Well, I think you should have a craft off. So I think you should do a video doing something and then get your mum to do a video and then let your subbers decide which one dropped it like it was hot and which one's not.
Oh.
I'm all up for that. Get your mum on. I want to see what these little bird feeders are all about. I want an interviewer. I'm telling you. I want an interviewer and get the inside scoop on what you were like as a little kid.
I don't imagine she's going to have much good to say.
Maybe not. Maybe I might need a bleep machine for that. I don't know. But no, you'll
hear the word short ginger twat come out a lot.
Oh, no. But yeah, on a serious level, keep me updated on that. On your mum's developments, because I've got a feeling she's going to become a YouTube sensation. And don't be jealous when she overtakes you, when she's got more views than you.
She wants to record it and send it me to edit down and send it back to her so she can do a voiceover to do it. I'm just on your end going, go for it, join me on YouTube.
Wow. Tell her if she needs any beats making for it, I can do it. I can do it a theme tune like I've done for you. Yes, why not? Do it a theme tune on like little bits of how to make a bird thing. I can get some tweeting, scratching with bird tweets or something. I don't know. See what I mean? I'm getting creative. Jesus. Your mum's on my page. Let me tell her. Tell her. But, no, that's brilliant news. But I'm going to get going anyway because I need to spend some time with the wife before she physically throws me out the house. But I guess I'm going to be speaking to you in the next day or so. I'll probably ring you tomorrow and we'll catch up properly on what's going on. And as ever, thanks for your help, Katie, and your time as ever. And best of luck with your new stream tonight. Hope it all goes well.
Me too.
It will. You'll be right. Don't you worry. Don't you worry. Right then. So I'm going to get going because I've just had an alert. Oh, I've got 8% on my battery on my laptop. Right. I'm going to have to get going. So, Katie, thank you very much. We'll speak tomorrow, yeah?
Definitely. Bye.
See you later. Ta-ra. Right, guys. That was a brilliant chat with Kimberly. Kimberly. Right. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to be uploading a video, which is the video just relaying a lot of information and slowly walk through. And please like it, share it, talk about the channel. I'm going to try and get this chap on in the near future with Kimberly again, so we can talk about this all over again and possibly break it down in another way. But other than that, I hope you've liked the stream informationally for you, and there'll be more content coming up. Should be having Brit Gale up in a stream on Friday. All things good. And I'd like to say before I go, a big, massive happy birthday to Brit Gale, because it was a birthday yesterday. Hope she's had a good one. So, guys, I'm going to love you and leave you. And with that, as ever, there's only one thing I've got to say. Thank you all for jumping on. I love you all. I love you all. And you know that. Even...
I love you. 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 Even the pissing haters. I love you. 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 I love you.